What do animal conservation groups, digital payment systems, and a Ghanaian artist have in common? Well, believe it or not, they all can help to protect the environment. More on that coming up on the show. I'm Neota Igbe in Lagos. COVID-19 may be dominating much of our life right now, but we still need to care for the environment. Right, Sandra?
That is right, Neota, and a warm welcome from Miss Sandra Twinovideo here in Kampala, Uganda. State-line data shows that during the lockdown, the air quality has improved in many African cities, but wildlife is still suffering. Animals especially have been the biggest losers in this crisis. Poaching has increased in many of the wildlife reserves. We'll talk about this shortly, and here's a quick look at some of the stories we'll be looking at today. We visit Rwanda, where the government has introduced steps to start phasing out banknotes. We also see how military training grounds can actually promote conservation. And we meet the Ghanaian artist who's using his artworks to call for greater protection of our seas. It is a well-established fact that rhino horn is essentially made up of the same substance as a human fingernail, but it continues to sell for astronomical prices, especially in East Asia, where it is considered to have healing powers. South Africa has nearly 80% of the world's rhinos and has been hit hard by poaching. With only about 20,000 animals left in the wild, the country has now resorted to drastic measures in order to preempt poachers. Packs have started to dehorn all their rhinos.
Pilanesberg National Park in South Africa. A rhino has been spotted, but sadly, help has come too late. After ripping off its horn, poachers left it as prey for lions. Helicopter pilot Nico Jacobs is out on patrol surveying the area. He is a founding member of the anti-poaching group Rhino 911, an organization that provides emergency helicopter rescue to rhinos injured or orphaned, mostly due to poaching. But it also carries out preventive measures. In a last-ditch attempt to save them, Rhino 911 has been assigned to help dehorn rhinos in the province. The animals are sedated before the precious horn is sawed off.
Beautiful horn. This is probably about 5-6 kilograms. And tragic that we need to do this, but unfortunately it's the only option that we have to try and do something, try and do trimmings to save these animals' lives.
The team needs to work quickly before the rhino wakes up again. Dehorning is a drastic procedure that removes about 90% of the horn. The conservationists tell us that in some areas, even dehorned rhinos are murdered to extract the remaining stumps. Reserves that combine the practice of dehorning with regular foot patrol and extensive monitoring could have a chance of saving the large herbivores. It looks brutal, but when carried out by professionals, it is safe and pain-free.
We make definitely sure that we don't cut into the growth part of the horn, where there's definitely feeling and where it also wouldn't be good from an infection point of view and regrowth of the horn. So I think in this case they don't feel, but they're obviously stimulated. There's a lot of vibration going into the body. This is not a full anesthetic, it's not like being in a theater. So they would respond to it, but I don't think it's painful.
The process takes about half an hour. The horn is labeled, weighed, photographed, and will later be stored in a secret government vault far away from the park. Improved security measures and interventions such as dehorning have helped South Africa to cut the number of poached animals by half over the past 5 years. Rhino 911 works closely with the Rhino Orphanage, a non-profit center that cares for orphaned and injured rhino calves. Yolande van der Merwe and her colleague are preparing milk for 3 recent arrivals. They only barely escaped the same fate as their mothers, who were butchered for their horns. Yolanda hopes to release the rhinos back into the wild once they have matured. But she is concerned about the rise in poaching as a result of the economic fallout caused by COVID-19. Rhinos are still being killed at a faster pace than they can reproduce.
Since the COVID-19 has started picking up in South Africa, we've definitely seen an increase in calves arriving. We've had 4 calves in 53 days. So we definitely think that there is an effect. You know, the tourism industries are all closed. It's very quiet out in the reserves. The anti-poaching teams try their best to patrol and protect the reserves, but we think that that quiet nature of the reserves definitely has an effect on the poaching.
Back in Pilanesberg, Rhino 911 has spotted 2 animals on the move. Time to act. Opinions on dehorning are mixed. Some believe it makes male rhinos vulnerable. Others say the horns aren't essential for survival and grow back within about 5 years. These conservationists see no alternative.
Well, we're losing animals at an alarming rate. We're losing 800 rhinos per year in South Africa, and that number is unacceptable. So we need to try and do more. We need to try, and save the species. It's a prehistoric animal, and we need to save them for generations to come.
Okay, we're going to wake up.
Most rhinos seem unperturbed when they wake up and simply resume grazing. For 3 years, Rhino 911 has been working with authorities to dehorn rhinos in public parks and reserves. The precise numbers of those dehorned or murdered are kept secret for their protection.
It is sad that such drastic measures are sometimes needed to protect the animals.